Alright everybody, the time has come to do some Chocobo breeding. This is, in my opinion, one of the most frustrating things in the game, but there are some ways to make it a little bit less frustrating. I'll give you some tips on how to get through this as quickly as you can. Basically, what you need to do first is get a whole lot of money. And the easiest way to do that at this point is to sell mastered all materia. Now we have, at this point, several materia that should be very close to being mastered. If you come into this forest here next to Midil and do some grinding in here, you should be able to level up the all materia that you have to be mastered pretty quickly, especially if you equip weapons that have double materia growth, weapons and armor, if you have that combination. And just try to master as many of them as you can. I was able to master several of them, and when I came in here to Midil and sold them, I was able to get over 8.5 million gil, which is way more than you actually need. But this is kind of the way I do things. I always overkill. So after you've done that, you need to come over to the Chocobo farm and come in here and talk to the guy in the house on the left. You need to rent Chocobo stables. Basically, they cost $10,000 per stable. You rent them, and then you'll be able to put Chocobos in there, and then you'll have the option to breed them. Now, you should probably get 6. I don't think you need to rent out the whole place. 6 will be just fine, so that's 60,000 gil. We'll rent out 6 of these Chocobo stables. Now, after you've done that, you need to fly up to the northern continent, and there is a place that's only accessible to us now that we have the airship. It's just right up here. You can see this little house, and drop down into the grass next to it and come in. And the first thing you want to do is go talk to this Chocobo on the left, because he'll drop the 4th enemy skill materia, which isn't terribly useful, but if you want it, it's there. If you wanted to get the Trine enemy skill for all 4 of these materia, you would have needed to wait to do Yuffie's side quest with the Pagodo until now. That would have been the only way you could have learned Trine for that enemy skill. But anyways, talk to this guy up here. This is the Chocobo Sage. And this is the way you're meant to learn all of the information I'm going to be giving you in the video. Basically, this Chocobo Sage is having he has some kind of amnesia. He's like forgetting a lot of the stuff that he used to know about Chocobos, because no one's come and talked to him in a really long time, so it's just his memory's a little fuzzy. So what you basically are supposed to do is continually come back to him after completing different things, and he'll remember stuff. It takes so long. It is totally not worth it to go through all of his dialogue. The best way is just to either, look up a video like you're doing here, or look up, an FAQ on GameFAQs and figure it out, because coming and talking to this guy is just a really long, painful process. But we need to buy Silcus greens from him. These are very important. Buy 99 of them right now. We'll be coming back here a number of times to do this. The reason we want to buy these greens is because you can feed them to your Chocobos, and it improves their stats for racing. And racing is going to be a big part of the process for breeding Chocobos. And the ultimate goal here is to get a golden Chocobo. And what a golden Chocobo allows you to do is to run anywhere on the map. It can run across mountains, rivers, oceans. It can go absolutely anywhere in the game, even areas that our airship can't access. And so there are some really good materia we can get by getting a golden Chocobo, but in order to breed a golden Chocobo, there's a whole lot of stuff you got to do. So anyways, racing is going to be a big part of that. Now, what we need to do is we need to catch specific types of chocobos that can only be found in very specific parts in the map and within very particular enemy groupings. So head over first. Let's just get this one out of the way because this is probably the most frustrating chocobo to find. What we need is we need 4 chocobos right now. We need 2 of them to be what are considered good quality chocobos and 2 great quality chocobos. And believe it or not, the great quality chocobos are way easier to catch than the good quality chocobos. And the reason for that is that the good quality chocobos are in a very rare enemy grouping. And I'll show that grouping off here. You need to come to the continent where the gold saucer is. Just a little to the southeast, there are some tracks, some chocobo tracks here. And this is where you're going to have to grind for this chocobo. But it's going to take you a really long time. Just accept it right now. It may take you upwards to an hour or 2 hours to find this chocobo. So the enemy groupings that you need to find are a chocobo with 2 Spencers. That's what this enemy is called. It kind of looks like a flying fish. But this is a Spencer, and this is the chocobo you have to catch. It cannot be this enemy grouping, which you'll find pretty frequently, or this one here. It has to be the one with 2 Spencers. Otherwise, you're just gonna get an average quality chocobo. The good quality chocobos can only be found with this enemy grouping. They're very hard to find. It takes a really long time. Make sure that you have your Mimic Greens ready to throw, that they're at the top of the inventory, because if you forget to do that and you grind for an hour trying to find this battle, and then you get there and realize you don't know where your Mimic Greens are in the inventory, it's gonna run away. You're gonna get really pissed. Trust me, I made this mistake. Put your Mimic Greens at the top of the inventory so this doesn't happen to you. After you've caught 2 good chocobos, you need to go down to the island here where Medeal is located, and you need to catch 2 great chocobos. These are much easier to find. You can you're basically looking for these enemies. They're called spirals, and a great chocobo will come with either a grouping of 1 spiral or a grouping of 2 spirals. If you get a grouping that has 1 spiral and another kind of enemy, that's wrong. That's not going to work. It has to be just a spiral or 2 spirals. Those are the only groupings that will work. So once you've completed that, come back to the chocobo farm and make sure that you save. Save the game before you go in there. Because what happens is that the gender of these chocobos is not determined until you move them into the stables. So when you first come into the chocobo farm, they're out here in this fenced area. But when you go inside and talk to the guy in here and ask him to move the chocobo into the stable, that is when the gender is determined. So what you want to do is make sure that you save the game so that you can come in and try multiple times until you get exactly the combination you want. We want a male and female good chocobo and a male and female great chocobo. This is going to be for mating purposes, obviously, breeding purposes. One trick that I found that works for me, and this goes for getting the green and blue chocobos later and getting the appropriate genders and everything, is if you come in to the chocobo farm and let's say you move it in and it's a female. If you reload the game, walk into the chocobo farm, back out to the world map, and then back into the chocobo farm again, it will actually help to randomize that a little more, so that because what often happens is you save the game, you go in and it's a female or whatever, but you wanted a male. You reload the game, go in and try it again, and it's female, 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 over and over and over again. So one thing you can do to mix that up is to go into the chocobo farm, leave, come back out to the world map, and go back in again, and then do that multiple times if you have to, until you get the appropriate gender that you're looking for. Now, once you have a male and female of both qualities, you need to start feeding these guys Silcus greens, right? We need to get their stats up as far as we can. So I would give 25 Silcus greens to each one of them. This is going to make the racing much easier. Now, once you have fed the Silcus greens, we're going to go to the gold saucer and go into the Chocobo racing station here, and we're going to race these Chocobos. Now, we need to get them up to Class B as Chocobos in Chocobo races. Right now, they're Class C. So basically, what you have to do is you have to win 3 races in order to move to class them up. To go from Class C to Class B, you got to win 3 races. To go from Class B to Class A, you got to win 3 races. In order to go from Class A to Class S, you got to win 3 races. So we need to race each one of these Chocobos and win 3 races with each one in order to get them all up to Class B. So the easiest way to do this is grab my controller here so you guys can, so I can explain it. There's kind of a hidden feature in Chocobo racing in this game, where if you hold down the R1 and the R2 buttons at the same time, don't mistake this. It's not R1 L1. It's R1 R2, both on the right side of the controller. You hold both of those triggers down, you will slowly regain stamina while you're racing. That stamina meter will slowly go up. This allows you to hold down the square button while you're racing, which is, okay, so if you hold down circle, that's more of like a straight out sprint. But if you hold square, that just makes your Chocobo go a little faster. It's kind of more like a jog. So you have kind of like the normal running speed. Square will make him go a little faster than that, and circle will make him sprint. If you hold down R1 and R2 at the same time, and then you hold the square button, you can run at a pretty good speed without losing any stamina. And then at the end of the race, you can really hold down that circle button and use up all your stamina right at the end. And you'll be able to win all these races really, really easily. That same strategy will apply for every race that you do. Excuse me. Hold down R1 and R2, hold down the square button. You'll be running faster than most of the other Chocobos, and sometimes you'll get some of these racers who will basically just use all their stamina at the very beginning and like sprint their Chocobo to exhaustion. Don't worry about them. They'll get ahead of you for a little bit, but you'll be able to pass them in the long run if you just hold down R1, R2, and square. And then when you get to the end of the race, that's when you're going to hold down the circle button and sprint to the end. So once you've classed them all up to Class B, that's when you're going to want to come back to the Chocobo farm. Now, in an earlier episode, I told you that you wanted to get a couple of different types of nuts. Basically, in order to breed them, you have to choose a nut from this list here to give to them. Earlier in the game, we got some carob nuts. But if you didn't get that one earlier, you can actually steal them from this enemy. It has a very difficult name to pronounce. It's Vlacarados, I think, or Vlacarados. I can't pronounce that correctly. However, it's this big red, like dinosaur-looking thing. Yeah, you can steal carob nuts from this guy. He's on the northern continent near Bone Village, just in the plains around there. Just go there and grind, and you can get as many carob nuts as you want. So carob nuts are what we're going to want to use at first. So what we're going to do is we're going to breed the good quality male with the female quality great Chocobo. And then, you know, we'll do the opposite as well. We'll also breed the great quality male with the good quality female. Now, what we're trying to accomplish here is we're trying to get a blue Chocobo and a green Chocobo. And we need them to be opposite genders. We need one to be male and one to be female. It doesn't matter which, as long as they're blue and green and they're opposite genders. So this might take a few tries. Make sure you save outside on the world map so that you can try this over and over again. And remember the trick I was telling you about. You need to enter the farm, and if you breed, let's say the first one you breed, you get a blue female. So you need a green male. Go back outside, save the game, then come in and try it. And if you get let's say you get the right gender, you get a male, but it's blue. You get a blue male. So you have a blue female, blue male. It's like, darn, I need a green male. Reload the game, enter the farm, exit the farm, enter the farm again, and you should get something different. It may end up being a green chocobo, but maybe it's female. So it's the right color, but wrong gender. Reload the game, and then go in and out of the farm twice. Then try it again, and you should get another combination. Again, maybe it will be the same exact gender and color you already have. Maybe it's blue female again. Reload the game, go in and out 3 times, then go talk to him, and you should get the one you're looking for. That, I found, actually worked for me, and there are a couple people online who could also confirm it. This is not a widely, this isn't a strategy I found on any FAQs. This is just kind of something I read in forums. So give it a shot, see if it works for you. If it does, then that's great. That means that we have finally found a faster way of doing this than freaking trying for 3 hours reloading the game to get the chocobo we're looking for. If you're still having trouble, there are also some people who said that you can mix it up by feeding some greens to the chocobos and then trying to breed, and that might kind of mix up the randomization a little bit. Anyways, once you have a blue and green chocobo of opposite genders, feed them each 25 Silcus greens again. They will have inherited stats from their parents, so they'll already be, pretty good for the chocobo races, but feed them 25 Silcus greens anyways. This is really going to make them a lot faster and more intelligent and have more stamina. Then what you need to do is race these 2 chocobos up to Class A. So you need to win 6 races with each of them. Once you've done that, come back to the farm again, and we have only rented 6 stables so far. So what we're gonna have to do is let our 4 regular, just yellow chocobos go. Just release them back into the wild. It'll open up 4 more stables for us, which is exactly the number that we're going to need. And then we're going to want to breed the blue and green chocobos together with a carob nut. So overall, you need 3 carob nuts. 2 to breed the great and good chocobos to get the blue and green that we were looking for. And then the 3rd carob nut will be used to breed the green and blue together. And when you do that, you should get a black chocobo. Black chocobos are awesome because they inherit, again, they'll inherit all the racing stats of their parents, but they also inherit the world map abilities. So green chocobos can run over the top of mountains, and blue chocobos can run across rivers. So a black chocobo will be able to do both of those. It'll be able to cross rivers and mountains. So this will be able to get you into a lot of places you couldn't get in before. The black chocobo cannot run across oceans though, so we're still not going to be able to access those materia that we were looking to get. So we're going to have to race the black chocobo up to the S class. If you feed the black chocobo 25 Silcus greens, that should be pretty easy, even though you're going to be facing Teo, which is this other black chocobo in the gold saucer. Even though you'll be racing him a lot, you should be able to beat him with the strategy I've been telling you about. Hold down R1, R2, hold down square. You should be faster for most of the race. He'll try and overtake you at the end, but if you sprint, you should still beat him. Once you've done that, we need to go catch one more chocobo. We need to catch what's called a wonderful chocobo. And you find them on the northern continent up here in the snowy region with an enemy called Jumping. As long as it's with an enemy called Jumping, which are these rabbits with the little carrots. If you catch a chocobo with any grouping of Jumpings, it has to be just Jumpings. No, not Jumping and another type of enemy. It's just like a Jumping by itself or 2 Jumpings or whatever. It's got to be just the bunnies. Bring that chocobo back, feed it 25 Silcus greens, race it up to the S class, which is a little bit tougher because these regular chocobos, the ones that don't have a color, like they have a really hard time in this race when you come up to the part at the end where you're sprinting here. There's like some wind that's pressing against you. And with the green Chocobo, he can just run through there without being affected. And with the black Chocobo, that's the same thing. But with a blue Chocobo or just a regular yellow Chocobo, they get slowed down by that. So it can be really tough to beat Teo sometimes. However, it is still possible. It shouldn't take you that long, and as long as you feed it 25 Silcus Greens, you should be all right. Once you have the wonderful Chocobo and the black Chocobo up to S class, then we're going to want to use a Zeonut to breed. And you can find them, again, I mentioned this in an earlier episode, this continent up here to the far northwest, it's not really a continent, it's more of an island. To the far northwest of the map, inside of this forest, you can find goblins, and you can steal Zeonuts from the goblins here. But we just need one Zeonut. Bring the Zeonut back, breed the wonderful S-Class Chocobo and the black S-Class Chocobo together with the Zeonut, and you should get a golden Chocobo. And the golden Chocobo will help you to access some areas around the map that we couldn't get to before. So the first is up to the right-hand corner of the screen. It's a landmass that doesn't appear on the map, but inside of this, I guess you'd call it valley, this island with these tall looming mountains and just forest, where you wouldn't be able to land your airship, you can find the Knights of the Round materia. This is a summon materia. It is unbelievably powerful. Its purpose is to help take down the super bosses in this game. So yeah, really good materia. Best summon materia by far in the game. Can do hundreds of thousands of damage if you use it the right way. Then to the the southeast, there's a little. You could actually land your airship in a very specific way here, to where you exit. You can exit. You can land the airship on the green patch here, but exit onto the dirt patch and be able to go get this without having it the golden Chocobo. But anyways, inside of here we get the Quadra Magic materia, and this is a really awesome materia because what it does is you pair it up with any magic materia you have, and you'll be able to cast that spell 4 times in one turn. So really good example, say you use Ultima and you have Ultima paired with Quadra Magic, cast it and it'll cast Ultima 4 times on the enemy. So really good materia. Then we're going to want to come over to Wutai, and there's kind of this little branch of the continent over here that we couldn't have gotten to any other way. Go inside of this cave. In here you find the Mime materia. It's a command materia that will allow you to copy the last ability that was used in battle. So just to give a kind of a straightforward example, you have Cloud cast Knights of the Round. Then you have Red 13 use Mime, and he will also cast Knights of the Round, except that it doesn't use any MP because it's a command materia. So he just copies the last move that was done before at no MP cost. It's freaking awesome. The last materia is here on the second continent, same continent as the same continent as the Gold Saucer. Anyways, right up in here on this patch of like desert where we couldn't have landed our airship, you come in here and you can get the HP MP materia, which is quite frankly the most useless materia in the entire game. What it does is it switches your HP with your MP. So say you have 5,000 HP and 1,000 MP. What this materia does is switch them so that you have 5,000 MP and 1,000 HP. I see not even one circumstance where that would ever be useful. You don't need that much MP. There's no reason to have that much MP. You can cast all kinds of stuff without having to have that ridiculously high number of MP. The only thing it does is weaken you because your HP goes way down. So, very useless materia, but you can get it now that you have the Golden Chocobo. Now, one more thing I want to mention before closing this video out is that we're still going to want to race with the Golden Chocobo. Even though we got all the stuff we were wanting to get, there's a couple of things that we can win in the Chocobo races that you should give a solid attempt at doing. First of all, race the Golden Chocobo up to the S class. Once you get the Golden Chocobo up to the S class, you need to win 10 races in a row in S class. And when you do that, you're going to be rewarded with another pair of sprint shoes. And sprint shoes, obviously, they cast auto haste on the person who has it equipped. So it's a really good accessory to have. At this point, you should have 2 of them. One of them you won by winning 8 consecutive battles in the battle arena, and then talking to the woman that's outside down the stairs, and she rewards you with the sprint shoes. This is the second pair of sprint shoes you can wear. Now, it is possible to win a 3rd pair of sprint shoes in the Chocobo races just as one of the random rewards at the end of the race. However, it's very hard to do. It comes up rarely, and then you have to get a very specific combination of Chocobos to win the race. Obviously, you have to win, and then you just have to. So it just has to happen. It's luck based that the other Chocobo that wins happens to be the card that flips over that rewards you with a 3rd pair of sprint shoes. So if you want to grind here for like 12 to 50 hours and get that, go for it. Then you can have 3 sprint shoes, but I don't think it's worth it, so I'm not going to be doing that. However, it is possible to win some hero drinks here, and I would at least give a solid attempt of doing a little grinding to win a couple hero drinks, because those hero drinks are going to be really important for a boss fight later in the game. So if you can get some hero drinks, great. If you get the other pair of sprint shoes, you're extremely lucky. But anyways, one other thing I want to mention. Make sure that you just choose the short race, because there's 2 different races you can do. You can do the long track and the short track. It doesn't change anything. The rewards are going to be the same. Like, there isn't any incentive to do the longer race. It just takes longer to get through it. And you're going to be doing a lot of racing during this entire process. You're going to be racing a lot. So you might as well get through it as quickly as you can. So I would just choose the short race and just get through this as fast as you possibly can. This whole process is still going to take you somewhere close to, I think at the shortest, 3 to 4 hours. At the longest, maybe like 5 to 7 hours. So it's going to take you a long time to get through this. There's almost no way around it. But hang in there. The rewards are worth it. And I'll see you guys next time. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments. Peace!